Good morning and welcome to another session of Way to Be at Home. My name is Morgan Cox. I am the Next Generation Scholars Coordinator in Caroline County on behalf of Maryland Business Roundtable for Education. And today we have a special session. We are currently joined by with some current college students to talk about their experience in terms of applying to college and choosing which college to go to. It's a big decision. It's a decision that a lot of our rising seniors are currently looking at, and a decision that they'll be making in the next several months. So in honor of college applications opening officially this week for the fall 2021 school year, we are going to discuss and break down how to choose your college. So before we get started, I would like to have our guests introduce themselves. Guys, if you want to go ahead and give us your name, what school you go to, and maybe what year you are currently in school. So Joelle, we'll start with you.
Okay, wait, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, hi, my name is Joelle Everett. I'm a rising senior at the University of Maryland College Park. Yeah.
Awesome. Good stuff. Okay, Erik, you can go next.
Hi, my name is Erik Bell. I currently go to Towson University and I'm a senior.
Fabulous.
All right, I guess that just leaves me. Hi, I'm Sue Kim. I'm a senior at Towson University, and I'm also the intern here for MBRT and the Student Ambassador Coordinator.
Fabulous. Thank you guys for all being here this morning. And I know that you guys are all towards the end of your college career, so I'm sure you can look back and fondly remember those days before college even started. But think back to maybe like your junior or senior year, or really whenever you guys started the process. When did you guys start looking at colleges, and how did you kind of start the application process for yourself? Joelle, you can start and we can go in that same order.
I feel like I started kind of early. Like I actually started touring schools in my sophomore year. Like I went on two like pretty big like college tours just to like knock them all out at once. And like one of the tours was like more northern schools, and then one of them was like more schools like down south, because I wanted to like get a taste of different places. So yeah, it was actually like my sophomore year, and that's when I really started like looking.
Awesome.
I had a slightly different experience. I got the opportunity to see what my brother was looking at when he was looking for schools, and he's older than I am, so I got to see a couple different schools when I was in 8th grade to freshman year of high school. So that was really neat for me to kind of see what campuses looked like, and what to kind of think about when I was looking for a campus. But at that point, I had no idea what I was looking for academically. So I really started the kind of academic search my junior year. I kind of got a late start on that.
Awesome. Well, that's a really great point too. So for any students out there listening that do have older siblings and that are maybe they're the seniors this year and are they've had a little bit of an early experience in terms of looking at colleges, which is a great place to start for sure. And Sue, what about you?
Yeah, I started my college search journey around the end of my junior year into the beginning of my senior year. And for me, I was unsure if college was the right path for me. So I definitely looked into a bunch of different options, but I didn't do like the traditional like college tours or anything. I kind of just asked around because, again, I didn't know if college would be the right fit for me.
Great. So when you guys went on those tours towards the end of your sophomore, junior, and senior, well, between your sophomore and junior years, what specifically were you looking for in a college? Did you guys look just to see what a college campus felt like? Did you look for certain clubs or organizations that were on campus? Were you looking for your major? Tell us a little bit about that.
Are you going in the same order?
Sure.
I was really looking for like, I was really focused on like the environment that I was going to be in. So yeah, I was like looking at like different clubs and organizations that I could join. I was looking at like dorm life, like actual campus life. What does that look like? Like what, I guess kind of like just like how I felt in general, like on the tour. Like, did it feel like a welcoming place, or was it just kind of like a colder, distant, like informational session? Like, so I was really like focused on that. And then also like the opportunities like academically for my life after college, like how well was the curriculum going to be, and like what like opportunities was it going to offer me once I graduate. So those were like my two main things.
Great.
My answer is not as well put together as that. I feel like when I was looking for college, my experience with high school wasn't the greatest. I didn't really like it. I didn't feel like I really enjoyed that experience. So one thing that I really looked for in college was not to know anybody going there and not to know anybody who went there. So I really wanted to pave my own path and just start fresh. So I was looking for a campus that I could do that with.
Great.
Yeah, for me, the biggest thing that I wanted in college was I wanted it in-state. Just it has a lot of financial benefits for me and my family, and it's close by as well. But another thing that I looked into was size. So Maryland was a college that I considered, but it's a little too big for me. I'm very sheepish. UMBC was really nice too, but they focus a lot in STEM, and I knew that that was not something I'd pursue. So Towson was like the perfect mix of like small but large enough to feel like a university.
That's awesome. And I love that you guys all focused on completely different things, and that's totally okay. And that goes to show what's important, not necessarily important to you, but what, you're looking for in a search. When I looked, I know I had a combination of all three of those things. So, where mine was about location as well, except my location requirement for my college had to be 3 hours away from home or more. That's basically where I started. But the same thing, looking for that feel on campus. If it was a place that I could see myself, I wanted it to be somewhere that like I knew was home, like it felt like home to me. And I know a lot of students probably feel that way too, especially if it's if you do choose to go to a school that is further away from home, you want it to be, more of a welcoming environment, because you'll be there for most of the year. So did you guys, when you went and looked at different colleges, did anything stand out to help you make the decision in where you ultimately chose to attend?
Yeah, I know for me, like I like really took advantage of like programs where you could kind of like spend a day on campus and like actually see what like a day in the life was like. And that was like a big part of me deciding to come to Maryland. I did this program called Edge, and you could basically spend like half the day with a student, and then like you actually stay with them overnight, like in their dorm, and then like you left the next day. So like I was kind of like, it was a pretty good like idea of what being a student here was like, and like I really appreciated having that like real life experience. I guess it was just a day, but it felt like okay, like I could see what it would really be like to go here, and that was like a really like important part in me actually deciding to like come here. And I did a couple similar like programs at other schools, so yeah.
Awesome.
So one of the big things for me was where I originally decided to go, which was actually in Pennsylvania. So I had toured a lot of schools up there, and after a while, they all started to seem very similar with their tours and things like that. But I was sitting in one of the kind of tours or orientation type things, and they were having the groups get up. So with the communications group, which was what I was originally looking for, was about to go, and I was like, "Mom, I've done this like 3 or 4 times now. I know what they're gonna say. I'm going to go with the business group." So I kind of switched it up. And then when they started talking to me about the business and what they had to offer in that, I was like, this is what I want.
That's awesome. I love that, to switch it up and kind of see, because a lot of people do get to college and end up making decisions to change whatever they're thinking they're going to study, or maybe adding on to what they're going to study. So being able to get a little taste of that too. That's great.
I guess for me, the deciding factor for Towson was, well, Towson was the only one that gave me an offer. But even after being there, I still had the choice and the option if I wanted to transfer or move on to like a different thing. But for me, the deciding factor to stay with Towson was just their student body in general. It's a very student-run campus, and they're very proud to be Tigers. And it's just really nice to be involved in a community where you feel like you're contributing to it, whether it's passively or actively. And yeah, just there's a lot of Tiger pride.
I can second that.
That's awesome. So, Eric, I'm going to put you on the spot for a second. Okay.
Okay.
So I know that you said that you were looking at that your original college that you looked at was in Pennsylvania. What ended up helped you decide to end up at Towson?
So one of the big things is when I was originally looking at schools, I was going for basically feel of the college campus. So I would look around and walk in the buildings and just get the feel of being on that campus. And that's what originally led me to decide on going to PA and East Stroudsburg. But after 2 years of being there, I realized that I wasn't being as academically challenged as I would have liked,
Mhm.
and that I needed a more intense program. That I wanted more options in the business instead of just like management. They had way more to offer at Towson, such as project management or financial management or just business administration. And they had way more options and things like that. And not to mention the in-state tuition is definitely helpful when having to pay for it.
Right.
So just the wide variety of programs that Towson had to offer is what drew me to Towson after 2 years of kind of living on campus, but not really fulfilling why I was going to college.
That's great. Thanks so much for sharing that.
Yeah, no
And I
problem.
think that's something that um, a lot of students might not think about because, I know for me, I was a relatively decent student in school. I always knew I wanted to go to college, but when I was looking at colleges, of course, I looked for the major that I was interested in, but I didn't really look any further than that. And I think part of that was because I was a communications major, and that field, as with many fields, are so broad. Like there are so many different ways you can go. And I know the way that I ended up wanting to go, they didn't offer at my school. So I took what I could because by that time it was my senior year. So I didn't really have another choice. But being able to look into that and look and see how far you can go in your program and how much you are pushed and are challenged. Because, of course, if we're going to go to college and pay money and really dedicate 4 years of your life or however many years to it, you want to be challenged. You don't want it to just be like, sit and wait for it to go by. So that's really great. Thanks so much.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, so the next question I had for you guys was about the actual decision. Was it easy? Did you like just wake up one day and be like, yes, I know? Or was it like a decision you actually had to grapple with for a couple of weeks?
I know like for me, I really had to grapple with it because I really like one of my big things like was I wanted to actually also like leave the state of Maryland, and I really wanted to go to like a city school. So my number one choice was actually Temple, and I was like set to go to Temple for the longest. Like everyone knew I was going to Temple. Like I was an owl. Like there was nothing that was until it actually came time to make the decision, and they just weren't giving me any money. So like that was frustrating. And it wasn't that like I couldn't afford to go there, but I was just like my senior year of high school, I had a lot of pride, and I was like, I'm not going anywhere unless they like give me a scholarship. Like I was like, I felt like I was like super smart and like I deserved for free. So I was just like really like stubborn. I was just like, no, like I don't want to go if I have to pay like the full, and college is expensive. So I was just like, yeah, no. So I kind of just like ended up deciding on Maryland because basically it had there was nothing that Temple had that Maryland didn't. It's just the location. Like it was like just the fact that it was in state and I preferred to leave. But I just kind of was like, you know what, like I don't want to pay that much for school, and there's nothing that I can't get here that I was gonna get at Temple. So I just ultimately decided on like going to UMD. So yeah.
Awesome.
All right. So for me, originally, my first decision was pretty easy. It was kind of like I was on campus and I just kind of looked at my mom and I was like, "This is it. This is where I'm gonna go." But that second decision, where to transfer to,
Mhm.
was definitely a more complicated decision. I was really juggling between UMD, Towson, and Rutgers University.
Mhm.
And I had fallen in love with Rutgers. Something about their bus system just really was fun. Um, but what it came down to was Towson had a duly accredited business program that neither UMD or Rutgers had to offer. And Rutgers was far more expensive because I was out of state. So I was getting if not more education at Towson for cheaper. And it just seemed like a better fit for me. So that one did take some more time and effort to look into.
I didn't struggle at all. The decision was made for me when I got those acceptance letters in or didn't. Towson was the one that had the most interest in me, and I was like, okay, cool. So it came very easy for me, thankfully, because I don't know what I would have done if I had to think more.
And I love that. I like that it's different for everybody. I know that experience is totally different. And I'll share too, because I think my story is kind of funny, more so funny than anything else. But I've joked my entire life, both of my parents are educators. When we go on family vacations, we would stop at colleges, like since I was like 2 years old. So I had toured college for like 20, or I guess like what, 18 years or whatever. And so I still didn't know my seat right before, like this time, August before my senior year, I still did not know where I wanted to go. And I ended up doing, like I said, I was looking at schools 3 hours away. So I was looking at a lot of schools in Virginia, and I was doing a week of tours in Virginia. And I ended up going to the school that I went to. And while I was there, I liked the fact that their colors were black and yellow. I'm a Steelers fan, so that worked out well for me. And then the next day I went to another college, and every time I said that college's name, I heard Randolph-Macon, the college I went to. I heard that name, and I took that as a sign, like, that's it, that's where to go. And then I knew, and then I applied, and thankfully got in. So I know that decision is very different for everyone. It can be easy, it can be hard. There are different things to consider, and it really comes down to what you prefer, and honestly what they offer you, because if they don't offer you what you want, then there is no point to accept it. So when you guys were going through that process, like I said, my parents were educators, so I knew a lot about the process of applying to college. But did you guys receive help or guidance from anyone, like maybe family members, school, anyone at school?
Yeah, I was like really close with my guidance counselor all throughout high school, because she's just like really cool. Like it was kind of like barely like a authoritative relationship. It was kind of like she was just my girl, but like we were just like talk all the time, and she really like emphasized to me that because I've always been like pretty like clear like when it comes to making decisions about what I want, and she was just kind of like really just focus on like your gut like instinct, because all the other like external factors, like they're important, but a lot of schools like tend to offer the same like things to like a certain degree that I was looking at, the schools that I was looking at. So it was kind of like a gut thing. And then also like my parents really encouraged me to like, I think Sue said this, like talking to people that actually went to those schools and like asking them about their experiences, because everyone has like different experiences, and I was able to like kind of gauge other people's like experiences like on those campuses to kind of like get an idea of what mine might be like, just depending on like the things that they were interested in, like their major and stuff. So yeah, I definitely think that like my parents, my guidance counselor, and then like just people I already knew in college were really helpful in me making that decision, because I kind of like took a culmination of all their advice and like experiences to make my own decision.
Awesome.
Yeah, so like you, Morgan, both of my parents are educators, or were. And so I had them. They were very helpful in the college decision-making process, as well as my older brother. You know, he had gone through it. So with the help of my family, I was really able to figure out kind of what was best for me and what I was looking for.
Awesome.
For me, I definitely had a lot of help from high school guidance counselors and my music teacher, because they both know I'm not a very strong test taker, but that doesn't mean that I'm not smart. If you put a test in front of me, I panic. So yeah, Eric's got it. So they knew that I would need a lot of help with like writing my essay, and how to on paper make myself look very appealing. Because I have a lot of potential. Just if you give me the SAT, it might not show. So I had a lot of moral support and just ways to kind of finagle through the system.
That's great. Okay, so I know we're getting close to our time here, so I don't want to take too much of your time today, but I've got two questions left for you. The first one being, if you could go back and tell your high school senior self one thing, what would it be?
I mentioned this earlier, but it would definitely be to like not like to like look at what like other majors like schools have to offer and not limit yourself, because I was like very strictly like I'm going into engineering because I did like this engineering program in high school. So like all the schools I applied to, I just applied to engineering like programs. Like I didn't even look at any other majors, and now I'm not even an engineering major. So it's just kind of like I just wish I had like looked at other stuff, because I didn't even like engineering. Like I was just like I was good at it. Like so I was just like, I guess it's not so stupid, but like I really wish I would have like started looking at other programs, because I just wonder now like all the other majors that were at the other schools I like looked at, and if there was other things that was also really interesting, because I love my major now, but I just like I didn't even look at it until my mom just like very last minute, like 2 weeks before school started, was like, you should look at other majors, because she could tell that I wasn't sold on engineering. So she was like, look at other stuff. And then like, I'm really glad I did. So I would definitely tell myself to just like, think outside the box. Like, you don't have to do this. Like, no one's forcing you to do this major.
Yeah, I'd have to say something very similar to that. I would probably just tell myself to be flexible with it. I mean, even when you decide on a college, you don't have to stay there for all 4 years. If you don't like it, you're fully able to go transfer. I mean, that's what I did. I expected to be at a place for 4 years, but I transferred. And then when I started my college search, I started communications, and then I went into management, and then I went to Towson for investments, and that switched over to finance, and now I'm in project management. So it's been a journey, but just keep an open mind about it.
Yeah, definitely piggybacking off of Joelle and Erik. I originally came to Towson for music education, and then I transferred over to mass comm. So I definitely would have told myself to save myself a headache and a lot of paperwork, that just because it's your passion, it doesn't have to be your full time. You can still pursue your passion, but that doesn't mean you're not good at other things.
Mhm. That's great. So one last thing, what advice do you have for students that are looking to make their decision about what college they attend this year?
Um, okay, I feel like COVID kind of skews this, but I really encourage like seniors to like remember that college is more, well, I mean, COVID just really messed this up, but college is more than school, and like you should really like enjoy like all aspects of your school, because like you don't want to just be there to like go to class and like go home. Like I mean, like you can make that your college experience if you want, but like you should really try to take advantage of everything a school has to offer, and like remember that, like kind of piggybacking off what we were just talking about, like you're there to learn, and like your major is important, but it's also a lot about like the skills that you take away from that major and what you choose to do with them. So like really just thinking about what the curriculum is, what that has to offer, and then yeah, just like the overall experience of that school, like what are all the things it can give you in the time that you're there.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Speaking from experience as an orientation leader and a student ambassador, get involved. Like just definitely make your college experience more than class, because it has so much more to offer than just class. Class is great, and that's why you're there, but you can make it so much more and get into so many more things by doing that. So definitely just get involved.
Piggybacking off of that, as a resident assistant, pace yourself. I know that it's a very like it's a huge decision. There's so many opportunities. You don't have to do everything at once. You don't have to join every organization, every sorority, every class. You have so many years. It doesn't have to be 4 or 3. It can just take your time. It's okay.
Absolutely. I love all of that. And as to piggyback off of all of that, and as being a resident assistant, former resident assistant and tour guide and orientation leader and all the things, and being on the other side of it, you grow so much more in college than you expect to. I remember my very first day on my college campus, they told us like, who you are today is not the same person you'll be on the day you graduate. And that's 100% true. Obviously I didn't, I stuck to myself and my values and everything like that. But of course you grow so much more in being on your own, and the things you learn through your curriculum and through your education, and the way that you have to push yourself and go through different challenges, which look different for everyone. You guys have the challenge of virtual learning for your last year of college, and that's not the same challenge I had, but yet we all have challenges in college and in life in general. So it's a really big learning experience. So overall, I really hope that any students out there watching took something away from this, and that they can apply towards making their decision about how to choose your college. There is no right or wrong answer, as you hopefully learned today. It's just a place for you to grow more, further your education, and help prepare you for your career that's ahead. So thank you guys so much for joining me today. I really appreciate you guys giving up a little bit of your time this morning to chat with us about how to choose a college and everything that comes along with that. So again, my name is Morgan Cox, and on behalf of MBRT, thanks for tuning in, and we will see you next time.